Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you please find your seats? Well, find your seats and then please rise for the presentation of colors by the Ottawa Hills High School JROTC, led by Major Thomas Jinks.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Mrs. Allen, and the Ottawa Hills High School Choir, as well as the JROTC at Ottawa Hills. My name is Sunita Lanier, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of the Grand Rapids Board of Education. And before I go any further, you all may be seated. Before I go any further, I'd like my colleagues to stand as I call their names. Dr. Tony Baker, Vice President, Dr. Wendy Fowl, Treasurer, Ms. Jane Geetson, Secretary, Reverend Kenneth Hoskins, Mr. John O'Connor, Dr. Monica Randalls, Mr. Reynard Ross, Ms. Maureen Slade. Remain standing, please. I'd like to publicly thank all of you for the countless hours that you spend on working for all children in the Grand Rapids community. On behalf of me and Mrs. Neal and the rest of us standing here, we thank you for your work. But I do want you to remain standing as I acknowledge and have other very important members of this audience to stand with you. If there are elected officials in the audience, can you please stand? And remain standing. I have another group to call, and we can applaud them all at the end. And I will add, this mayor of this great city does send his regrets. He is traveling at this time. In addition, and please elected officials remain standing. In addition to elected officials, I'd like for any members of clergy to please stand and remain standing. And then I'll list a few other categories, and I just want everybody to stand after I list those categories, and then at the end, we will acknowledge everyone with applause. All parents, please stand. All students, please stand. All faculty, any Grand Rapids Public Schools retiree, current employee, please stand. Any taxpayer of this great city, stand. Any community partner of the Grand Rapids Public Schools, please stand. Everyone in this room should be standing. You are all very important to the Grand Rapids Public Schools and the work that we do here. You all deserve to be applauded this morning. Thank you. Now you may be seated. I wanted to be a choir director in one life, so that just helped me with that. Superintendent Neal specifically asked that the leaders of all of our employee groups to be here with her on stage. As the future of this district requires all hands on deck, rowing in the same direction. Now I would like to introduce and recognize the leaders of all of our Grand Rapids Public Schools employee groups, some of whom will be speaking shortly. Please stand or raise your hand when I mention your name. Ms. Tammy Rositas, she's the Vice President of the Grand Rapids Association of Child Care Workers. Major Robert Ware, he's the Grand Rapids Educational Officers Association. Greg Albright, he's the President of the Grand Rapids Educational Support Professionals Association. Sarah Potteray is the Treasurer of the Grand Rapids Paraprofessional Association. Berta Kata is the President of the Grand Rapids Police Officer and Labor Council. Sandy Harvey, Executive Board Member of the Grand Rapids Association of Education Office Personnel. And last but definitely not least, why is everyone laughing? Mr. Paul Helder, he's the President of the Grand Rapids Education Association. Please give them all a round of applause. On behalf of the Board of Education and Superintendent Neal, I want to thank you all and your members for your tireless work, dedication, and support for our students, schools, and the district. I know a few of you would like to speak, so let's start with Tammy Rositas.
Thank you, President Lanier. Good morning, all. And on behalf of the Grayson Association, I would just like to say that we are most thankful for Superintendent Neal's efforts and her hard work and dedication. Personally, I have just been blown away. I had not currently known Miss McNeil until currently, but I tell you what, she is a leader. She's a hard worker, and we're most impressed. The president, Christina Bukema, could not be here today, but we are just thankful, and we're happy that she is going to continue the work that she's doing for our district, and we appreciate, and we just know that it's good things coming forth. So with that being said, here is Sarah Potteray.
I am the treasurer of the Grand Rapids Parapro Association. I am here by default. Our president had a death in the family, and the vice president was not able to attend, so the torch got passed to me, but I am very, very honored to be able to be up here. Oh no. It's been a long road for us with the budget cuts from the state and the federal funding, and we've all worked very hard to tighten the belts and to do a job for our children every day because they are the most important. And I'm very, very grateful that Superintendent Neal has stepped up for us. All I gotta say is, oh, happy day, and there is really, really hope on the horizon now. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of the PLC, I have a short note that I want to read. It gives us great pleasure to be able to share the stage with our Superintendent Neal. We're excited about the possibilities that await us in the future. Ms. Neal's vision as it relates to the students of the district, it is one that we should embrace and help move forward. Ms. Neal is not only a supporter, but also a person with a passion for doing what is right. Not only believes in safe school, but she has shown over the years the commitment by walking the halls, standing in the corners, and attending events to help promote a safe environment. Her pledge to pay close attention to the student policy handbook and to encourage all staff to be firm, fair, and consistent is very encouraging. We proudly join our superintendent in helping our students to achieve academic success, great leadership, and just good plain decision making. Ms. Neal, we are proud of you. We are rolling up our sleeves with you to do what is right by our children. The Public Safety Department has always been a firm believer in providing our students with the best education possible in a warm, safe, friendly environment. Our motto, we take great pride in the safety of our students. The greatest equalizer in America is that of an education. And the Public Safety Department is not just about safety, but our main goal is to ensure that our students receive the education in an environment that is conducive to learning. Thank you. The next person in line is Sandy Harvey.
Good morning. A little short here. On behalf of the Grea membership and our president, Kathy Danovich, thank you. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this very special event. We are very excited to be on Mrs. Neal's team, and we look forward to the opportunity to work collaboratively with her. We support her goals and the vision that she has for our students. We appreciate the efforts that we've already seen, the listening tours, her continued emphasis on academic achievement, and the enforcement of the Uniform Discipline Policy. We support her mission to strengthen our culture. We also recognize that it will take the efforts of everyone in our district to achieve the high standards that she has set. You know, as the Nigerian proverb states, it takes a village to raise a child. Thank you, Teresa, for empowering all of us to be part of that village. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. One more thing. Grand Rapids Association of Educational Office Personnel, we are the support staff. We are the administrative assistants. We are the secretaries. And we are the receptionists. One of the things that I heard Mrs. Neal say during her listening tours was that she began her career in the district in Grea as a secretary. I know that because I was there about 500 years ago. But the members were really excited, and they said to me, would you make sure that you let everybody here know that we intend to take full credit for all of her accomplishments in this district? And now, without further ado, I will introduce Paul Helder, GREA President.
Well, I didn't think we were going to get the credit. Good morning, everybody. Now, class, we can do better than that. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Helder.
I'm not even sure where to begin. It's been a long road, I think, for all of us, for everyone up here, for all of you out there, for the community at large. There is a change that's begun in this district. I had a conversation with a member just recently wanting to know why this and this and this weren't done yet. And I remember sitting there and looking at him and saying, you realize she's only been on the job 2 months, right? And we sat there and talked afterward for probably another 5-10 minutes about just how much has changed in that 2 months. If you look out in the crowd right now, this room is far from full. And you want to know what? That's okay. It's not far from full because people are being locked out. It's not far from full because it's being held outside the district in a warehouse somewhere. It's far from full because nobody expects any drama. Nobody expects any surprises. Everybody's already been told where we're going, what's going on. And everybody feels like even if I didn't make it today for questions, I can pick up the phone and call. That's a phenomenal culture change. Phenomenal change. Ultimately, we've got a lot of work to do in this district. As teachers, we can do better. I'm not talking about working harder. I don't think we can work any harder, okay? But we can do better for students. We can work in different ways. As administrators, they can give us the freedom to practice the craft and the science that we've learned how to do. That was very poor English. I'm going to get in trouble with an English teacher out in the parking lot right afterward, and you know what? I should. Because that's going to be something else we're going to have to do. We're going to have to hold each other accountable. Okay? So when I trip over myself, somebody's going to call me and say, you realize that email had a... Okay? And we need to. We need to hold each other accountable. We need to work together. We need to become a family again. And that's everybody. That's this whole community. For the community, I know that there have been times that you've felt like you haven't been heard. I know that's been the case with many of us as well, and quite frankly, with a number of people in administration. I don't know how many people know this. I used to get quiet, secret phone calls, and the fact that they had to be quiet and secret spoke a lot to the culture. That has changed as well. Blended instruction, I think we already know where we are with that, right? The rotation that kept students from forming relationships with their teachers, that's over. The hub program, that experiment, we're going to bring art and music back to the kids in the buildings and the communities that they're at. Hey, that's her call. That's the board's call. That was the right thing to do for students, and they should be applauded for that. We've got a lot of other changes coming too. I think one of the things you're going to find is that there are going to be a lot of things that are done differently. Teresa and I have already had, and I'll say that too, Teresa and I don't think there have been too many people who would have heard me say Bernard and I, but Teresa and I have already had conversations about, if nothing else, how we would like bargaining to proceed, how we would like school reform to proceed, what we can do together that actually is data-driven instead of data-disguised to improve education, to improve this climate, to improve this city, and to give our kids the opportunity they need to do better than we did. That's it from me. Thank you very much. If it's okay, with your permission, I know the lights are a little hot up here, and some people don't feel quite as comfortable in the spotlight as I've learned to feel. A number of us are just going to go ahead and leave the stage, and I'm going to turn it over to President Lanier. Thanks.
We appreciate all of you for coming out, and thank you so much for those words that were shared. Let's give them another round of applause. We, the members of the Grand Rapids Board of Education, have been actively engaging our community over the last few years. Most notably, the 5-year strategic planning process that involved more than 1,000 students, parents, staff members, and community members. This produced a 5-year plan that is driving the work of this district. Another action was the superintendent search process, where we engaged countless small group had countless small group meetings with stakeholders, a dozen community meetings and surveys and more. And then came Teresa Weatherall Neal. On Tuesday, January 3rd, the Board of Education unanimously appointed Teresa Weatherall Neal interim superintendent of the Grand Rapids Public Schools. She hit the ground running and hasn't stopped moving since her appointment. Immediately, she launched an aggressive listening tour that is an ongoing opportunity for feedback so that she can use it to realign, reunite, and refocus the work of this district. It is amazing what a difference one individual can make. The words and feedback the board is receiving are hope, optimism, respect, pride, healing, helping, and the list goes on and on. She is listening, she is engaging, she is learning, she is uniting. With the help, support, and input of students, parents, staff, and stakeholders, she is transforming the culture of this district, and she has the full support of the Grand Rapids Board of Education. She is a 35-year veteran of the district. Now she is our superintendent. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Superintendent Teresa Weatherall Neal. I think I'm on. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for attending, but before I start my speech, I want to congratulate the Ottawa Hills boys basketball team. And I want everyone to come out on Monday to support them as we move forward with this. Mrs. Lanier, she introduced the board members, but I really want to take this opportunity to share with you the hard work and the dedication of this group of people. You may see them on TV for the board meetings, but I'm telling you, every day, there's a noise somewhere, someone needs to do something for me. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But every day, these people work effortlessly on behalf of children, staff members, and this community. It's amazing. It really is amazing to me. At the end of this presentation, I'd like to take about 10 or 15 minutes. There are some of you that I've not had the opportunity to hear from, and so I'd like to take questions, comments. So we're going to do that for about 10 or 15 minutes. I want you to start thinking about that. I also, at this time, I don't do this alone. I do push the 14, 15 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. But I do that with a group of people who are equally as dedicated as I am to this wonderful city, wonderful children in this great district. That is Mr. Larry Johnson, and I can't see, but Larry Johnson is somewhere in the room. Mary Jo Coleman, if you will please stand. Mrs. Carolyn Evans. Ken Clomparens, Julie Davis, Brian Gam, Melvin Atkins Jr., Kurt Johnson, Maida Gunno, and John Hemholt. I really do want to thank this team. They respond to my 3 o'clock text messages and emails. And so they're always there with me, and I appreciate that. I am a Grand Rapidian. I was born and raised here in Grand Rapids. Since the age of about 4, I have been connected to the Grand Rapids Public Schools in some form or another. Started at Madison Park Elementary and went to South Middle, and then graduated from Creston High School. I love all the high schools the same though, guys. Some of the students told me that I can't say I'm a polar bear. So I love you all the same. But I am truly, truly one of you. This is my district, this is my city. And people know the love and passion that I have for this wonderful district. I do want to thank so many of our community partners, volunteers, elected officials, every individual, group, organization, institution, and foundations who are part of the Grand Rapids Public Schools. That includes the retired employees from the district. I've received so many cards, well wishes, and offers to help our children. Amazing, amazing city. But I would especially like to thank our parents for allowing me to serve, I would like to thank our wonderful students. Thank you so very much. And then our employees. Our employees work day in and day out on behalf of this district. Awesome. It is absolutely amazing to see the district from this point where I'm sitting. You just have such a dedicated group of people. On January 4th, when I was appointed, I told the board I couldn't do everything in 6 months, and then it was extended to 18 months. But being one of you, I knew what we needed to do. So I committed to 5 things. And what I said is, I will focus on academic achievement. The only reason we exist, the only reason, is because we educate children. That's what we do best in Grand Rapids. We want to give the gift of education to every child in this district. The second thing is professional development. So much has changed in education. We need to be focused on being the best that we can be, using research, learning from other districts, learning from our community partners, so that we can be on top of our game. The next thing I told them is a positive culture. You know what? We need to model the behavior we expect to see in children and in each other, right? We need to have a very positive culture. And the next thing is collaboration. I have 9 brothers and sisters. I learned at a really early age how to collaborate, right? You don't get anything done on an island by yourself. Establishing clear expectations. And finally, accountability. I felt that those were the 3 easiest things we could do. My parents were very clear on the expectations. I did push the rules just a little bit. They were also very clear on accountability. You owned whatever you did. But I never had to guess what the rules were, even when I chose to break them, right? I knew we need to help our children get there. I also knew that we couldn't do this alone. I could not do this alone. I happened to be the person that they asked to sit in the seat, but it was going to take this entire community to pull this off. So I started right away with a listening tour. This is our community, these are our children, and it is our city. We know what is best. So I went to the people, sent a survey, and only had a few questions. What's going well? What's not going well? And what do we need to do to make these changes? I met with employees, students, parents, community leaders, elected officials, more than 1,000 people. And this today, I would like to hear from some of you that I have not heard from. The good news is there's several things that's going well in this district. To highlight a few, the Institute for Learning. Our relationship with the University of Pittsburgh has been great. Our use of technology. We know we have to prepare our children. We really need to prepare them, right, to move on. Positive behavior intervention support. We can't just focus on the negative. We really do have to reward those that are demonstrating the behavior that we would like to see. The other piece is community partnership. We have some of the best partners you've ever worked with. Many of you are in this room. And for our children, for the students, I want you to know, people in this community love you as I do. They care. They want you to succeed. There's a list that we had earlier, and we will show again, of all of the community partners that are here. I have heard from people near and far. The other thing, what's not working? You know, not everything is going good. Paul talked about some of those things that I heard in my listening tour. Rotation. Our students deserve to be with their teachers, not every other day or every 2 or 3 days, but every day. Our teachers will deliver the best education for our students. So we got rid of the rotation. Hubs. Our students, again, should not have to get on a bus to go across town to take an elective course. That is not right. Every student deserves to stay in their home school and take their electives by our Grand Rapids Public Schools teachers, not by someone else. We also need to focus on our discipline, uniform discipline code policy. We don't need to create another policy, you guys. We have it. We just need to enforce it, right? I am asking everyone in this city, not just Grand Rapids Public School employees, students, parents, I'm asking everyone, fair, firm, and consistent. It's the way that I've lived my life. Fair, firm, and consistent. That's all I want everyone to do for these students. But we need to have high expectations, hold them accountable, and explain the rules. The days are gone when people say, do it because I said so. That doesn't work, right? So we need to share what we're thinking. I've already responded to some of the listening tours. I kind of did them quietly behind the scenes so that we could do this right away. We've started restoring our electives at our base schools. We are developing a plan to revitalize and restore our art, music, and phys ed for our children. And we will build a comprehensive plan. It will be pre-K through 12. We are going to work together with members of this community. They've already offered to help us. We're going to rely on the expertise. We don't have to have all the answers in Grand Rapids. We just need to open the doors and accept the help. We talked about changing blended learning rotation. We've already done that. Elimination of the H grade. You know what? You did not get 2 and 3 semesters to earn a grade. We are Grand Rapids Public Schools. We don't need that. Our students don't need 3 semesters. We're going to do it right the first time. We're going to give them the support that they need, and we're going to make it happen. Customer service. We are going to focus on customer service. People allow us to serve them. They can make other choices, right? We're going to treat them as if they're allowing us the choice. The deal is this: we're not going to please everyone. I know what some of you are thinking already. I'm getting the calls too. Fair, firm, and consistent, right? But we are going to treat people with respect. Staffing is under new leadership. I will explain to you and promise to you, we will have the majority of our principals in place by June 30th. It is unfair to our dedicated employees, it is unfair to parents, and it is unfair to children to wait until September to find out their child's principal. My grandson is a student in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I deserve the right to know, not in September, July 1. Our principals need the opportunity to build those relationships during the summer to prepare for the beginning of the year. That is my goal. The next thing that we're going to do is align all of our services. We are creating an academic plan. We have already started that. We've gotten feedback from many of you. Those of you that know me know that I believe begin with the end in mind. The board has allowed me 18 months to make a change. So I created a plan beginning with June of 2013. We have a lot of work to do, but we can do it. This instructional plan that we're working on will include a new framework. We're going to launch a new performance system. We're going to align all of professional development, evaluations, everything that we're doing to best practice. We are going to use data. We're not going to have everything layered on coming into the system. One plan, you guys. We're going to align the work, drop anchor, and focus. Our goal in the Grand Rapids Public Schools is really to create a model that will provide consistent, quality teaching and learning in every single classroom in this district. Your zip code should not determine the education. What I do know is I can't do this by myself. need parents, staff members, this community to engage in this effort to help us make this a reality for children. We are going to engage the stakeholders, call a meeting with the mayor, city commissioners, school board members, as well as city and GRPS employees to discuss the current and future facilities, specifically the use around the sale of our buildings, right, and the current reality with the charter schools. People do have choices. We are going to build the best system and work with our community partners to make this a reality. The future growth of the Grand Rapids Public Schools is not just a GRPS issue. It really is this community. Students are in school about 20 to 25% of the day. The other 75%, guess what? We as a city own them. We need to do right by them while we have them here. I'm going to create a monthly newsletter to send tips home for parents because I know we're going to have to work with parents. We're going to help them get there. We will be holding monthly parent meetings 2 and 3 times. I think we have 3 coming up in the next few weeks. We're going to equip them with what they need in order to make this dream a reality. Again, we're going to do that with high expectations. We are all one. I am also asking for volunteers. You probably said I knew she was going to ask for something. I am. Because you know what? You own this with me. Our children deserve everything we have to give. I'm going to ask for volunteers. I'm looking for 200 to be deputized to help me. Come in the schools. Don't just go by what you read about or what you hear or what you see. Establish a relationship with these children. They're some of the best children you will ever meet in your life. I do want to thank the voters and the taxpayers of this city. We appreciate the millage, the warm, safe, and dry. We are working with the local first in the city to create a policy that will keep the money right here in our city, right? Our business owners deserve that. A good friend of mine said, you know, Teresa, enjoy this. Enjoy this day. Enjoy this journey. And he knows me very well because I work a lot. But during the past 2 weeks, I've really had an opportunity to enjoy the journey. And it's something really small. But as I go in this community, I go in the schools, I see our students at church, in the restaurants, at the games, in the hallways, we lock eyes. And some of them have said, hey, aren't you mine? And my response is, yes, I am yours. Don't quite know what I am, but they know that I belong to them and they belong to me. It's that sense of kinship that I feel with these children that's really important. It lets me know that I'm in the right place, even though I didn't seek this out. It is the right time, and I am doing the right work. And I want you to join me, commit to these children. Join me in giving them the greatest gift that we can ever give, and that is the gift of education. That is what we owe these kids. This community, our future is really connected to these children. And we can do that by focusing on our academic achievement. You're going to hear a lot of stuff, right? It's going to be painful for a minute, and this is what I've told people. Hold on. Take the time. Hold a conversation. Children will tell you what they need, right? They will tell you the truth. Get thick skin. Get thick skin. You need to be able to hear the truth. And then we need to redirect them so that they are ready to go to the next phase in their life. We're going to hold a senior fair for all of our seniors the 28th of March. We want every senior in this district to come together to spend the day. One of the students asked me, can we have a senior skip day? I told him I never skipped a day in my life. I've always loved school. So their senior skip day is to spend it with me, right? We are going to have counselors there. We're going to provide them lunch. I'm probably going to hit somebody up because we need t-shirts, Grand Rapids Public School t-shirts. John's going to work on that for me. John didn't even know it, but you know what? We are going to do that. We're going to spend the day to help them get to the next phase. College applications. The governor talks about, right? The governor said that we need to be forward-thinking, where we're going to be the example, the Grand Rapids Public Schools. There are 76,000 jobs in the state of Michigan, according to the governor. We want our children to get a part of that, right? So that's what we're going to do. With that, I'm going to end because I believe brevity is best. I'm going to end, but I do want to take time to take some comments, questions, answers, whatever we can do. So there's people with mics around somewhere, and I'm going to come down because I'm better a little close. Yes, please. You know what, there's one other thing I forgot to tell you guys. Randy, Tony, the guys here at Ottawa Hills High School, awesome group. They really took care of me well. Good deal. You talk about a family. I felt like their sister. They just kind of took care of me, everything that I've needed. But I'm going to come down and I have Etna and Dana.
Marlene and Edna.
Marlene. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Malunge. Any comments, questions? You can ask me anything, you guys. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, but I'll get you an answer.
I'd just like to say that I'm finally hearing somebody that's serious, that's very serious about the children here in the Grand Rapids community, because this is why everybody's going outside of it, because all of a sudden you just didn't hear any seriousness going on here in the community. You're like, hey, the children are, what's the important thing?
That's right.
Let's make that the important thing. I'm a senior citizen. Hey, I pay taxes. I don't mind voting for taxes when there is going to be something positive going on here in the community about the children. Hey, all I can say is thanks to the new.
Thank you. Right there, Dana.
Good morning.
Good morning,
And
Ms.
thank
King.
you for setting the high standards in this district that has been kind of adversarial with teachers and administration. So I appreciate you trying to work with teachers, because when a teacher feels empowered, you get more creativity out of them, you get more commitment, as opposed to always talking about them, making them feel like they're the scum of the earth.
That's right.
Okay, so if we start uplifting teachers, you will find that they will be more creative. I'm a retired teacher of Grand Rapids Public Schools in mathematics, and I know what I know, and I know how to do it well, so I'm going to be one of your volunteers. Okay.
Thank you.
My main concern is, are we going to be doing some recruitment of teachers? Because I know that there have been some good people that have come through to HR, good African American males that were told they weren't qualified, probably just because of the melanin in their skin, not because of the content of their brain. If you go to Forest Hills and all the students were of color and all the teachers were Caucasian, that would probably be a problem. Or vice versa, all the students Caucasian and the majority of the teachers are of color. That would cause the problem in that district. But we don't seem to want to hire people of color, and I know that there are some people of color that can teach, that have left Grand Rapids because they were refused a job here, and they've gone to outlying districts and got hired right away. I think that's a concern that perhaps we should start doing more recruitment now, and I'm not just saying that they should be of color, but of good teachers. And I know that there are some good teachers that have melanin in their skin. So I would like to see a recruitment that is across the board of good teachers.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for that comment. Let me assure you that we are in the process. We have already made changes in our hiring practices. We have empowered people to do the work. One of the things that I've changed right away is hiring teachers will be handled by people that have taught. We will bring people as part of the interview process. We will bring people to the table that have been in the classroom and many of those that have been principals. So thank you for that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so happy to be hearing all of these positive things, and I just wanted to agree with you out loud and with the group the importance of establishing relationship with the students, with the children. Without those relationships, those children will not open up to receive the education. We're not here to punish them. We're not here to look down at them. We're not here to lord over them. We are here to establish relationships with them and to build them up and to redirect them, because they have not had a lot of positive input in their lives from the community and from some staff. And this is very, very important.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I'm Claire from Alger Middle, and I had a question. I feel that we should do more about the bullying off the bus.
Yes. That's right.
Because my friend here, Alberto, he got jumped like 5 days ago, a week ago, and I helped him to feel better and to feel more safe.
Good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Good for you. Thank you for helping your friend. That's what we need to do, is to lean on each other, right, and demonstrate. Remember, I talked about be the change that you want to see. That is an example. Our board is in the process of working on a bullying policy. So we are going to take that on. Thank you. One of the things we're going to explain, though, to students is school is just not in our building. Athletic tournaments, contests, walking to and from school, and having the privilege to ride the bus. Uniform Discipline Code policy, it's going to follow, right? We are working with members in this community. I do plan to enforce that policy. We're already getting some pushback, but that's okay. It's the right thing to do. We will continue. Thank you.
Superintendent O'Neal, I just wanted to commend your commitment to the consistent discipline.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on uniforms district-wide?
I laugh because that did come up. There are people that would love for all of the students to wear uniforms, and we've talked about that. But I've received a lot of information from children that said, please don't do that. You're going to stifle my individuality. So that answer is somewhere in the middle. So what I have said is, you can no longer wear saggy pants in this district. There is a proper way to dress. And so we're going to help people get there. So I don't know where that answer is with uniforms. But the kids are saying, please don't do it. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am. Oh.
Piggybacking on his, is there data that shows in the schools that do have uniforms that those students are more productive, more engaged, and less time is spent, obviously, on having to make comments and concerns about the dress code? I went to Catholic high school. I wore uniforms all through high school, and it got to the point where you did have those free days that pretty much you forgot about them because you were so used to
Wearing the uniforms. Right. I don't know what the data shows in Grand Rapids, but across the nation, uniforms are viewed very positively, right? It's very positive across the nation. It does take the sting out for people when they're trying to keep up with the standards of someone else. We level the playing field. There's a lot of research to support it. And like I said, I think that answer is somewhere in the middle. But in the next 18 months, I'm not real sure. Somewhere. Where am I? Malunge? Okay. I don't have glasses on. I need my glasses. I can't see that far.
Hello, everyone. I know I'm a little late, but I was hoping this hadn't been covered. I guess I have 3 questions. Okay, I have both my daughters here are here on break. They at Michigan State. I think they graduated from Ottawa, so I thank God for them being here today. So I don't have any children in the district anymore, but I feel as a parent or just a Ottawa Hills, alumni, that we still should care about our school after they're gone. And so one of my questions, the problem we had when we was in school was, when they was in seniors or getting ready to go to college, the word was how they gonna get to college, how they gonna get from the counselor to Michigan State or to any other college. So it's like they need a program to make sure that the kids get in their junior year prep for college. Because if you don't get prep for college, the kids are going to be able to go to college if they're not prepared, in their junior year, like college tours. And also, with the jobs, a lot of kids we having problems with. You mentioned about the uniforms. It's really about money and kids having money to buy clothes. So I think the problem we started bringing was jobs for the kids, through the district or through the community, Project Cool. There's different organizations that help the kids get jobs, because it's not about uniforms, it's about my shoes look better than yours. You don't have any shoes, thus you don't have any money. That's all it boils down to. It's not about the uniform. It's about kids not having money to get the Jordans that the other kid got. So I guess the meet in the middle with it would be to make sure the kids have jobs, to not steal from each other. Because if you don't have any money and I got Jordans and you don't, somebody's going to steal to get the stuff the other kid got. So my question is, can you help the kids get jobs? Is that possible, like summer jobs, with the mayor office, working with the mayor office also in the school district, help the kids get jobs in the colleges, basically? Those are my 2 concerns. And also, one more thing with the parents. When I was here, they had PTAs and stuff. My problem was the parents didn't mind participating. It's that they wasn't organized for us with the Roberts Rules of organization. And if you don't really know about organization with the Roberts Rules, it's not going to last, because you don't know what a quorum is and what a vote is and what a second emotion. You're going to get discouraged because everybody's going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. So if the district can, at the beginning of the school year, pick the PTA, president, secretary, vice, train them at the district, with the Roberts Rules, so they'll know what a quorum is and what a vote is and when you can bring an item to the agenda. If you don't know these things, you're not going to want to participate as a parent. So that would help with the Roberts Rules organization.
Good deal. Thank you. We have the PALs, and so we are training parents on that. The counselors are working with the students on which college and how to get in. right? That's part of our senior that we're doing. They're also doing it with juniors. And then your third question was about jobs. And we are working with members in this community to create opportunities for children. So I have a couple more questions, right? And then because time is really important to me, and then we're going to shut it down. I said 10 o'clock, so. Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I go to Ottawa Hills High School. I'm a student here. And I was the only student who went to the student voice board, and me and Mr. Brown came up with something very important to me. We're going to enforce the dress code, but how would you enforce it for a whole as a school, including the teachers? Because there's some teachers who dress inappropriately and have their technologies out and be texting on their cell phones, but you don't want us to do it, so how will we enforce this as a whole?
Great question. This is the deal. Remember I said we're going to model the behavior we expect to see? That includes adults, right? We need to have high expectations for everyone. And I think it's okay to respectfully point out to someone else, that's inappropriate, right? It's the way you do it. And I'm going to take we have a lot of questions. You know what, you guys? We're going to take a few more questions if you will allow me to have just about 5 more minutes of your time. Sure. Right? Yep. My boss says sure. Where am I, Dana?
I have a couple comments.
Okay.
Just as an educator in the Grand Rapids Public Schools, I'm just so proud of your transparency and your openness, your honesty. And the comment about making sure from this moment forward that every teacher, I have the fabulous opportunity to, because I'm one of the PBIS consultants with the district, the Positive Behavior Intervention Support, so I go to so many schools and I see so many fabulous teachers and some not so fabulous, but I'm telling you from this day forward, if you could please embrace that every teacher that you hire on the spot, you say to them, let me see you teach a lesson about thus and so. I mean, because that's what they do in the outlying areas. They have to video themselves. They have to bring a tape. They have to teach something just on the spot so that you can see. They can think on their feet. They're going to be fabulous educators. One other point, the positive behavior intervention supports, one thing that I can tell all of you right here and right now that can change your lives in a nanosecond, it gives you the biggest bang for your buck, is to make sure that in everything you do, you have 4 or 5 positives to every corrective, 4 or 5 positives to every negative, because it can turn a classroom around like magic. It can turn your family around, it can turn your relationships around, that if you always do, think about the positive. It's a paradigm shift to notice the positive and then work at acknowledging, correcting, and doing things very subtly with students, and they respond to it. So thank you so much, Teresa, for all your positiveness.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to thank you so much for taking on this task, and I don't know if I can say this, but you're an answer to a prayer that I've been sending up, so I don't know if God's supposed to be here, but he is.
That's right. That's right. With me too.
That's just a recognition of that. And thank you so much for the vision that you have. And one question that I want to ask about is the transition from elementary to middle school and from middle school to high school. Is there a district-wide transition type of program or something that we can work with the middle schoolers that we may have problems with, where they're going, if they are suspended, are they just staying at home, or is there something in place that we can work with for them on that?
Yes, there's a couple things. We are working together to create this pre-K-12 system, right? And so we have counselors that are assigned high school all the way down. We have feeder patterns, so we are working now so that we can create one smooth system. And as far as the transition room, we've talked about this. As a matter of fact, I talked to one of the board members, Ms. Keats, and we just talked about this yesterday. I don't know what that would look like in the district, but I do believe that children are entitled to an education and we need to do right by them. I also believe that we need to create a positive learning environment for those in their school. And so the answer is somewhere in between. And I don't know what a strict discipline academy is the word that I would use, because that's the word coming from the state. I don't know what that would look like in Grand Rapids. But at one time, we did have like a street academy, a wall bridge or something like that. So I don't know what that looks like as we help children get back on the right path. A couple more questions somewhere. Dana, right here. He's been waiting a long time with a Roar t-shirt. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank you for taking these questions. I'm a parent of 4 children that have gone through the Grand Rapids Public Schools, and I have a concern about some textbooks that I've heard are being used in the district. I haven't had a chance to see them myself, but, and I hate to go on hearsay, but it appears that the textbooks depict black people appearing as apes, and just wondering what we can do to see the curriculum, or is there anything parents can do to affect the curriculum that's being used? You spoke of a positive learning experience, and from what I've heard, that doesn't seem like something that's positive to me. So what can parents do to influence that?
Thank you. We have had, it was brought to our attention that one of our history books, History Alive, that some of the pictures were inappropriate. We have since pulled together a committee to review our textbooks. We have had great support from the community, people that are willing to come in and work with us to help us review the textbooks. So we have a process in place to take care of that. Thank you. Somewhere.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a graduate of Crescent High School years ago, and what was really most important to me was the arts and music. And I just could never understand this loop program, or the hub program. And I wish that you would maybe give us a little insight on how arts and music will once again be promoted in Grand Rapids Public Schools.
We are in the budgeting process right now. We had our first 8-hour budgeting session yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, losing track now. Because we are looking at information that came out of the hubs, and then how do we build this program so that it is system-wide, right? We want to pre-K through 12. So we're looking at what will it cost to bring teachers back, and then what will each program look like in a school. But what we want to do is create a menu so that every school in the district will get something. And we're going to rely on our community partners to come in and help. We have people that want to assist us in that. Question somewhere? Yes, you've been so patient.
Oh, that's all right. Good morning, and thank you very much for everything that you've done. I'm Dan Hensley, proud teacher here at Ottawa Hills High School.
All right.
Just to give you a little background, over the past several years, I'd introduce myself to people. I said, yeah, I teach at Ottawa Hills High School. And for a while, people would say, well, I'm sorry. And I said, I'm not. These kids deserve great teachers as much as anybody.
Right. That's right.
But I've seen a change. And just in the past couple months, now the comments when I introduce myself and I say, hey, I'm Dan Hensley, I teach for Ottawa Hills High School. Like, you know, I'm hearing some great things that are starting to happen in your district.
That's good.
And that's exciting to me as a teacher. But I guess my question to you is, I look around the community and I look at some of our surrounding schools from Forest Hills, East Grand Rapids, Byron Center, Caledonia, and I see some of these schools, and one thing that I see there that's a little different than what I'm seeing here is their schools are becoming community centers. Those schools are busier after 3 o'clock
That's right.
than they are from 8 to 3. I mean, 8 to 3, you've got all the students that are in there. Good luck finding parking spots on occasion, and I'm talking Monday through Sunday. I coached for Ottawa Hills swim program for 4 years, and we would do fundraisers, and we would literally go a block down the street, and people didn't even know that we had a pool. And this pool's been in here for 40 years, one of the best pools in my opinion. in the Grand Rapids area. And I'd really like to see us turn these high schools, elementary schools, and middle schools into community centers, because if you want the community to be involved, you got to give them access.
Good, thank you. For those of you that may not know, my background is public administration. And so I am in love with communities, right? That is what I went to school for. The thing is, I also helped create, where are my KSSN folks? I know you're in the house. I just got flowers from that group, right? We have members in this community. We've been working on this idea of community schools for 20 years. Stephanie and I started the health program. You have health centers in your school. 20 years ago, Steph and I started those programs. There are community people that want to come in the schools and help us. We have partners. But I agree, we need to open that up. When you go to other major cities, the school really is the hub for that community. Job placement, training, speakers, right? Everything that happens in a school. So I would love to see that happen in Grand Rapids. We're going to take a couple more because I really do like to honor time. Malunge. She doesn't want to speak to me. I'm going to stay afterwards so she can talk to me then.
All right. Well, I would like to know more about the pre-K-12 program. What's it, if it's to better our education and to help us learn more about the economy?
There is a program, we have several programs. One is economicology. So we have a 6th grade program. We are building a Montessori program that's pre-K through 12, one cohesive program. And so there's several areas that we're going to focus on around economicology. What's happening at City, we have an IB program, and we are looking at bringing some of those strategies to all of our other schools so that we can learn. Remember, it's one district, we are one family. And so we're going to take those great strategies from one program and bring them to another. We're going to learn from each other. Okay.
Hi, my name is Brianna Walker. I'm a senior here at Ottawa Hills High School. I've been active in athletics and cheerleading. And this year I've done band, our drum line. We finally got it back. And I just want to make sure that next year it'll be here, and the years after that it'll be here for everybody, and our athletic program will get better. And even for cheerleading, because last year we did competitive, and this year we didn't, and I just want to make sure that the years after this, it's just the middle schoolers coming to high school will be more interactive with the school, because then they'll learn to love it more. They'll be able to do more things and be prepared for college athletics and everything.
Thank you. Kurt Johnson, I've talked to Kurt Johnson. I don't know where you are, Kurt. Kurt, we just talked about cheerleading, right? I was a cheerleader as well. So I went to the game about 3 weeks ago, and the boys basketball team, they were cheering for their team. And I said, Kurt, come here, what's going on here? Why don't we have cheerleaders? I thought that was kind of odd that we had the boys cheering and they had to play. We're stopping that noise. Not here. Kurt is already working on that. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hi. Congratulations.
Thank
We're
you.
very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Obviously. And I just have a question, and I'm not quite sure this is correct wording.
Don't worry about it, just ask it.
For schools that need more support, or the parents feel they need more support, like for some of the theme schools, they don't have as many support staffing and personnel as some of the other even high schools or middle schools that have large amounts of students. And so we're wondering how or if that's in the plan to restore some of that, because we have about 500 students, but we don't have we have one principal and one part-time assistant principal, whereas other schools with that many students have a dean of students and have maybe 4 or 5 other support systems.
The way the money flows in the district is it's based on your poverty rate. Schools with a greater percentage of children in poverty obviously get greater resources because they have more needs. There's another thing called comparability, and the federal law says what you do for one child, you must also do for the other when it comes to Board of Ed dollars. And so if we give, I'm making this number up, $1,000 per child or $10,000 per child for one school out of Board of Ed dollars, by law, you must do the exact same thing. And then you begin to layer on extra support. But I think to your point is we need to come together and teach parents how to advocate and build that system of support. Another area that we can really focus on is parents need a voice in the budgeting process. When you go to your school, this is the law. This isn't Teresa talking, right? I'm a Title I person. I've been in Title I 30 years. The law says if a school receives Title I dollars, parents have a right to say how we're going to spend that money. Go to your principal, tell them Teresa said. Okay? That's how you answer that one. I want to do one thing before I stop, and that is to recognize the other superintendents. I have so many people in this room that's here to support me. My colleagues around the district, you guys, this community, the Kent County superintendents, they have really offered their support for our students and for our teachers. They want the exact same thing for Grand Rapids Public Schools as they do for Byron Center, TK, East Grand Rapids. All of the superintendents, we meet on a regular basis, and it's under the leadership of Kevin. Kevin, are you here? Kevin, here. Kevin Konarsko, who is also a former GRPS employee. Ron is here with them, and then we have former superintendents, Bert Blakey. Can't stand up, he's Pat Oak. And I'm sure there's other superintendents in the room, former superintendents. Yes, please.
You know, I don't need a microphone.
Stand next to me, I have it right here.
I work for Representative Roy Schmidt, and I just want to share with you, he left, he had to go to another thing. But the one thing he and I and Representative Dillon and some of us in Lansing have talked about is the transition in this district. And we look at it as a couple different things. One is that we're excited about is that the selection of Teresa proves that there's a lot of pent-up and very, very qualified people in this district that have been kind of suppressed, oppressed, and repressed for quite a while. It seems like, anyway. So we're very, very impressed with this selection, and we're also impressed with the selection process by the board. And we want you to know that you've got one of the best boards you've had in quite a long time. They're thoughtful. And it's a very difficult combination because elections are crazy. So you've got a good streak right here. So I hope you can keep it that way because the relationship that we have in Lansing with the schools right now is excellent, and it hasn't always been that way. And so I just applaud the board and Teresa for really moving this forward, and everybody in Lansing is very, very excited about what's going on here.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And to follow that, as one of 7 representatives of the policymakers here in Grand Rapids, we want you to know that we are fully supportive. Our city manager and assistant city manager are here, Mr. Sundstrom and Mr. DeLong. And it doesn't matter how well we balance the budget. If our young people are not educated, we have nothing here in the city of Grand Rapids. So we are all excited today. And so I'd like to recite 2 quotes from my favorite teacher. His name was Len Skreisky, and one was, he said, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. What that means is no excuses.
That's right.
And the other one he said was, good intentions pave the way to hell. And clearly here, we all have great intentions, but we must act on those intentions and support Madam Superintendent so that we can be successful and bring this city of Grand Rapids to the city it was destined
right.
to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am good. I'm going to take my mic off. Right? You have a question? You have a question? Thank you for coming out this morning. Thank you very much.